completely unbelievable, but is entirely true.
Okay, so to start this story, I'm going to say that I grew up in the Appalachian Mountains. So we're going to start with that. To save a whole lot of backstory and just give you a little bit so that way it makes sense. My parents were really young whenever I was born. I'm talking 14 and 16. And so for a chunk of my life, my grandparents took care of me. My mother moved into a trailer that was next door to her parents. I want to say at this point in time during the story, I was about 5. Could not have been older than 5. So that puts my parents at 19 and 21. Okay? And the bedroom that was mine whenever I stayed there, it was essentially a glorified closet. Okay? Dimensions, 7 foot wide, like when you stick your arms out, maybe 7 feet by like 10 feet deep. Okay, like a glorified closet. Okay, so I have a small twin mattress in there, and then there's a little nook, or I guess nook, where I had a bookcase and a little light that you could flip on and off. That was my nightlight. So trailer was set up. Walk in the door, living room, hallway, my room, and then a bathroom, and then their bedroom was in the back. Okay. My dad's family had a nickname. Essentially, all the grandkids had nicknames. My nickname was Girly. Okay. I feel like it was ironic because I was not girly. I was essentially a boy. I mean, I ran around with no shirt on. I played Hot Wheels. It was essentially just a sarcastic, ironic nickname. I was girly. So my mother didn't call me that. Only my dad's family and my dad called me Girly. And that's a very key piece of information. My mother never called me Girly. She called me Tiff. So one night I'm at my parents' house, staying the night, and from the hallway I hear my mother. She's like, Girly, Girly, in a whisper. And everybody recognizes their mom's voice, and so it wakes me up. Girly, Girly. But I don't see her. And I'm like, what? Because I'm a little kid, and you woke me up whispering, Girly, Girly. And I'm like, what? Nothing. She never comes to my room, doesn't say anything else, nothing. Girly, Girly. And I finally sit up, and I'm like, what? Because I'm a little kid that gets woke up at, I don't know what time it is. It's dark. It's past dark time, okay? So I sit up, and I'm like, what? And about this time, because my bedroom door's open. Now, mind you, I'm in a closet, okay? My bedroom is essentially a closet, so there's nowhere to go. This time, my mother stands in front of my doorway, and it's not my mother, okay? My mother has holes for eyes, okay? And it's her face, but her jaw is way open. Her mouth is way open, and there's no teeth in there. And my mother's kind of big. Like, she's always been kind of heavy, okay? And it has on her nightgown, the nightgown she had on, and I remember it because she had this nightgown for years. It was like a medium colored blue, and it had little stars and moons all over it, okay? This thing had my mother's nightgown on, had her big upper body. We all have, the bat wings, so, bigger upper body. But this thing had like a little skinny toothpick. If you could imagine somebody that weighs like 90 pounds, how skinny their legs would be, but with somebody that weighed 250 pounds upper body. And I mean grotesquely skinny legs, like not just a thin person, but bone with flesh wrapped around it for legs and feet. And that's not how my mom is built. She's got her upper body and lower body match. She's big up top, big on the bottom, okay? And whatever this thing is standing in my doorway has my mother's face, but there's 2 black holes for eyes, a gaping open mouth with no teeth in there, and bones for legs, and it's standing in my doorway of a 5-year-old me, not saying anything, but not coming in, and I'm petrified. I can't move. I don't know if I breathed. It felt like eternity, okay, but it was realistically maybe only 2 or 3 seconds, and then it turns, and it walks towards the living room, and I can hear it walking in the same pattern my mother walks, okay, and then I don't hear it anymore, but it doesn't sound like it went anywhere. It sounds like it took maybe 10 steps, which would be just enough to get into the living room out of the hallway, and I don't hear anything else. And I'm terrified Like, I'm shaking. I'm terrified. And I start going, like, I'm trying to yell for my mom, but I can't make my volume happen, okay? And so finally I yell, "Mama!" And then I hear her coming from her bedroom down the hallway. And now I'm terrified because I'm thinking, what if this thing gets my mother, you know? And she comes in the room and she's like, "What?" And I was like, "You was calling for me." And I couldn't tell her what had happened. I'm crying because by the time I see my real mom, she's wearing the nightgown thing, you know, that the thing had copied, but it's actually my mom at this point. She comes in my room and I'm like, "You were calling, like, you were hollering for me." And she was like, "We're asleep. Like, I was not hollering for you." And I'm crying at this point. I can't even tell her what's wrong. I want my mom, you know, I mean, I'm 5. So she gets in the bed with me. And she was startled enough that she had put my ball bat by the bed. So that's how scared, you know, I guess I scared her that bad. Because she's 19 at the time, too, you know. And so she sleeps in there with me that night. And time goes by, okay? This is a decade later. Actually, more than a decade. This is like 13 years later. There's a big age gap between me and my baby sister. We're almost 11 years apart, okay? She's a young child. I never told her the story about what happened. I never told her about this. I never even really told our mother what happened, like, fully. So my little sister, near the same age, she couldn't have been older than 7, okay? And she doesn't tell me this story either until she's almost an adult, okay? But the way she recounts to me is she's no older than 7, or she could be younger, okay? She's laying in this is a different house, okay? So not even the same house, same street, different house. She's in our mother's room that she shares with her dad, okay? My sister's dad. And what's the details? She wakes up, I believe, and laying in the bed with her is essentially the same thing I saw. It looked like our mother, had 2 holes, and almost like our mother's face, but it was not our mother, okay? And so my sister's like freaking out, backing off the bed, crying for her dad to come because the thing that's our mother is not our mother's in the bed with her. And then she said it's like it goes away, and you know what I mean? Like it's gone. But they had chalked it up to essentially, oh, well, she just woke up and was confused. But when she told me that, I was like, no, I know exactly what you've seen because I've seen the exact same thing. And I think it's absolutely bananas that we never told each other the story, and we've seen essentially the same thing over 10 years apart in 2 different houses. And can't get any explanation of why or how or what it was. What I think it is I think our mom essentially just has such negative energy attached to her that's just a manifestation of the negative energy that's attached to her. And we've seen it.